A deep dive. Today we're doing something special, just for you. You told us you're heading to Yellowstone, so we dug into the National Park Service's own resources.
Yeah, we went through a whole bunch of their web pages.
Right, the official stuff, planning guides, geology facts, wildlife info, all of it.
And the idea is to give you that deeper layer, beyond just seeing the sights.
Exactly. Help you understand the science behind what you're seeing, the geology, the animals, how it all connects.
Think of it as like a science lens for your trip. It makes everything more meaningful, I think.
I love that. And Yellowstone, I mean, it's got such history. The world's first national park, right? March 1st, 1872.
That's it. And it's huge. Over 2.2 million acres. Just vast.
So we pulled info from all over the NPS, site planning, wildlife, the volcano details, hydrothermal stuff, earthquakes, birds, beavers.
Moose, wolves, amphibians, roads, accessibility. Yeah, the whole range.
Okay, so where do we start? You mentioned powerful forces. Geology seems like the obvious place.
Definitely. Yellowstone is world famous for its geology for a reason. It sits right over this enormous volcanic system.
When you say volcanic system,
Yeah.
like a Mount St. Helens kind of volcano, big cone.
No, actually, that's what's interesting. It's not like that at all. The sources explain it's powered by what's called a hotspot.
A hotspot.
Yeah, imagine this plume of super hot rock rising really slowly from deep inside the Earth's mantle. It stays put, but the landmass, the North American plate.
The ground we're on.
Exactly. It's been slowly sliding westward over this stationary hotspot for, well, millions of years, about as fast as your fingernails grow, apparently.
Oh.
So over the last, say, 16.5 million years, as the plate moved, the hot spot basically burned a track across what's now southern Idaho. That's the Snake River Plain.
So the whole plain is like a scar left by this hotspot.
Kind of, yeah. And Yellowstone is just the latest place the plate is sitting over that plume.
That scale is just mind-boggling. And the supervolcano thing we hear about.
Right. That comes from the sheer size of the eruptions this hot spot has caused in the past. The sources mention 3 really huge ones. Colossal caldera-forming eruptions.
Caldera.
Yeah, it's like a giant collapsed basin left after a massive eruption blows the top off and the ground sinks in. These happened 2.1 million years ago, 1.3 million years ago, and the most recent big one about 640,000 years ago.
Okay.
That last one created the main Yellowstone caldera you can sort of trace. Today, it's roughly 30 by 45 miles wide. There was a smaller one, too, that made the west thumb of Yellowstone Lake.
So that immense heat deep down,
Yeah,
that's what powers the geysers and hot springs we see on top.
precisely. Those hydrothermal features, they're the visible signs of that huge heat engine below. The park says there are over 10,000 of them.
10,000.
Yeah, including over 500 geysers, which
Wow.
is, roughly half of all the active geysers on the entire planet. Right there.
Half the world's geysers. Wow. Okay, how do they work? It seems so dramatic.
It's basically about plumbing, heat, and pressure. Think of a geyser as a hot spring, but with constrictions, narrow bits in its underground pipe system, especially near the top.
Okay.
So water seeps down, gets heated way beyond boiling by the hot rock, but the pressure from all the water and rock above keeps it liquid.
Right, like a pressure cooker.
Exactly. Then, as this superheated water rises and hits those narrow spots, steam suddenly forms and expands, like rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
That steam builds pressure, pushing the water above it upwards until, boom, it overcomes the weight, pressure releases, and you get that eruption of steam and hot water.
Okay, that makes sense. And the cones and stuff around them.
Right, so that hot water dissolves minerals from the volcanic rock, mostly silica from rhyolite. When the water hits the surface and cools, the silica drops out, precipitates.
And builds up over time.
Yep. It forms those classic geyser cones like you see at Riverside Geyser, or those broad, crusty platforms of sinter covering whole basins like around Old Faithful.
So the geyser literally builds its own structure. Amazing. And the other features, quickly, what are they?
Well, you've got your basic hot springs, just pools of hot water, no eruption. Then mud pots, which are acidic hot springs dissolving rock into bubbling mud.
Ooh, gross but cool.
And fumaroles, those are basically steam vents. They're the hottest features, just blasting out steam and gas.
Got it. Mammoth hot springs, those pictures look totally different. White terraces.
Yeah, Mammoth is kind of its own thing. It's actually outside the main caldera boundary.
Ooh.
The heat probably still comes from the main volcanic system, maybe traveling along deep fault lines, potentially some shallower heat too. But the look is different because the hot water flows through limestone there.
Different rock.
Right. So instead of silica, it dissolves calcium carbonate. When that deposits, it builds those big travertine terraces.
Yeah.
Totally different look.
Fascinating. And the colors around these features? Not minerals?
Nope, that's life. Tiny microorganisms called thermophiles, heat lovers.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Living in that boiling water.
Yep, extremophiles. They thrive in conditions that would kill most other things. They form these huge, colorful mats, the blues, greens, oranges you see. It's pretty incredible.
Life finds a way, huh?
Mm.
Wow. Okay, and all this underground heat and water, I
Yeah.
bet it makes the ground shaky too. Earthquakes.
Oh, yeah. Yellowstone is very seismically active. The sources say between 1,000 and 3,000 quakes a year.
3,000.
Most are tiny, you'd never feel them, but they often happen in swarms. It's linked to the movement of fluids, water, gas in the crust above the magma.
So the ground really is alive there. What else shaped the land, besides the fire below?
Ice. Massive glaciers.
Glaciers too.
Big time. During past ice ages, especially the last one, the Pinedale Glaciation, a huge ice cap, maybe up to 4,000 feet thick in places, covered most of the park.
4,000 feet of ice.
Yeah. And as it moved, it carved the landscape. It scoured out those wide U-shaped valleys you see, very different from river-cut V-shapes. It also dumped piles of rock and dirt called moraines, leaving ridges. And it carried and dropped massive boulders, erratics, sometimes way far from where they started.
So you can actually see signs of both fire and ice. Where should you look?
The sources point to places like Mammoth Hot Springs and Fountain Flats, where you can see thermal cames gravel piles left by meltwater. Swan Lake Flat is a basin carved by ice. The Madison and Lamar Valleys have obvious moraines. Hayden Valley is filled with glacial till, making it marshy. Near Tower Fall, there might be evidence of even older glaciers. You really get a sense of the power.
It's like reading history in the rocks and hills. Okay, let's shift from the ground to the creatures living on it. The wildlife is legendary.
Absolutely. And what makes Yellowstone special, as the sources highlight, is that it's a remarkably intact ecosystem. Meaning you've got this huge diversity, nearly 300 bird species, 67 mammal species, fish, amphibians, reptiles, all interacting more or less naturally like they have for a very long time.
That's incredible. So who are the stars? Where might you see them? And what's the absolute number one rule?
Number one rule, without question, is distance. Safety distance. The park rules are clear. Stay at least 100 yards, that's a football field, away from bears and wolves.
100 yards. Got it.
And at least 25 yards away from everything else. Bison, elk, moose, everything. Never, ever feed them. Use the pullouts to watch. Don't stop in the road. Stay in your car if there's an animal jam.
And bear spray.
Absolutely essential if you're hiking. Carry it, know how to use it, have it handy.
Okay, bears and wolves, serious space. Bison, they're like the park's logo almost.
Pretty much. North America's largest land mammal.
Yeah.
And Yellowstone is unique because they've been here continuously since prehistoric times. A real conservation icon.
Where do you usually see them?
Hayden and Lamar Valleys are classic spots year-round. Big open spaces. And don't let their size fool you. Bulls up to a ton, cows half that, but they can run 35 miles an hour.
Faster than you'd think.
Definitely. You might see them wallowing in dusty pits, especially when it's hot or buggy. And if you're there late July or August, that's the rut, the mating season. Bulls get pretty active.
Good to know. Elk. Seems like they're everywhere.
They're the most common large mammal, yeah. And super important prey for wolves and bears. The big northern herd winters along the Yellowstone and Lamar rivers.
And the bulls have those huge antlers.
Magnificent, aren't they? They grow them new each spring under that fuzzy velvet. They shed the velvet late summer, just before the rut, early September to mid-October. That's when you hear them bugling.
That eerie sound.
That's it. Just be careful around them. Cows are protective of calves in spring, and bulls can be aggressive during the rut. Give them space.
Right. And wolves. The reintroduction success story.
Yeah, brought back between 95 and 97. The northern range is probably one of the best places on Earth to potentially see wild wolves now.
What do they mainly eat?
Mostly elk, especially in winter, like 90% of their diet then. But the sources say they're increasingly hunting bison too. Average pack size is around 10 wolves.
Any cool science facts about them?
Actually, yeah, this fascinating genetic finding, about half the wolves have black coats, right? Turns out that black coat gene is linked to better immune function.
Oh, wow.
And they think it actually came from ancient hybridization way back with domestic dogs.
Wild wolves got a useful gene from dogs. That's crazy.
It shows how interconnected things are. Sadly, the main cause of death for wolves in the park is other wolves' territorial fights. Outside the park, it's mostly human causes.
It's a tough existence. What about cougars? Mountain lions?
Much harder to see, very elusive. They naturally came back to the park. They like rocky, forested areas, hunt elk and deer, mostly.
Do they interact with wolves and bears?
Oh, yeah. It's tough being a cougar sometimes. Bears and wolves often steal their kills. Wolves have even killed cougars. It's a competitive environment. Researchers use GPS collars and genetics to study them.
Intense. Okay, let's talk about an ecosystem engineer. Beavers.
Ah, the architects. They're a classic keystone species. Their dams create ponds, which changes the whole habitat. Those ponds are great for fish and insects, and they encourage willow and aspen growth, which is what beavers eat and build with. You find them all over, but maybe more in the southeast, southwest, northwest corners. You can see an old dam at Beaver Lake.
When's the best time to see them?
They're crepuscular, most active at dawn and dusk, and their numbers are up, partly because willows have recovered more since wolves returned and changed elk browsing patterns.
See,
Connections.
that's a perfect example. Any other mammals to keep an eye out for?
Sure. Bighorn sheep look on steep rocky slopes like Mount Washburn or near Tower Fall. The rams have those huge curled horns. Pronghorn, they look like antelope but aren't. Fastest land animal in North America, up to 50 miles per hour. They evolved that speed to escape predators that are now extinct, like American cheetahs.
Whoa, cheetahs in North America.
Used to be. And pronghorn flare those white rump patches as a danger signal. Also, moose look in marshy willow areas. Their numbers are low, though, less than 200.
Amazing details. What about birds? Lots of bird watchers go there.
For good reason. Nearly 300 species recorded. Look for bald eagles near water, ospreys diving for fish along rivers, trumpeter swans, huge, beautiful birds. There's a small nesting population, but many more winter there.
Okay.
Also, common loons are a species of concern. Spring migration is great. Hayden Valley is good for hawks in late summer, early fall, and swans in November. Same rule, 25 yards distance, and don't use bird calls to attract them. It's illegal.
Good to know. And fish. Important for the ecosystem.
Very, especially the native Yellowstone cutthroat trout. They're food for bears, eagles, otters, but they're threatened.
By what?
Non-native fish, rainbow trout interbreed with them, diluting the genetics, and lake trout, introduced into Yellowstone Lake, are aggressive predators that eat huge numbers of cutthroat. The park works really hard trying to control lake trout numbers.
Another challenge, amphibians too. Frogs, salamanders.
Yep. They're important indicators of environmental health because they're so sensitive to changes, pollution, climate, disease. They live in water and on land, part of the food web. Their health tells us a lot.
So when you see all these interactions, wolves affecting elk, elk affecting willows, willows affecting beavers, trout being prey.
Exactly. That's the intact ecosystem idea. It's this complex web of life, all interconnected, shaped by the geology and climate. It's what makes Yellowstone, Yellowstone.
It really drives home the complexity. Okay, let's get practical again for your trip. Essential planning tips from the park sources.
Top of the list. Understand that Yellowstone is seasonal. Things change dramatically through the year. Roads open and close. Facilities have limited seasons, usually late spring to early fall for most things.
Could always check before you go.
Always. Check the official NPS website for current road status, facility operating dates, and any alerts. Weather can close roads unexpectedly, even in summer.
And I heard something about road construction for 2025.
Oh, yeah. Definitely factor that in. The park website lists several major projects for 2025 Bridge Bay area, Gibbon River Bridge, Lewis River Bridge near Old Faithful, Yellowstone River Bridge by Tower, plus chip sealing pretty much park-wide.
Meaning delays.
Absolutely. Expect delays, potentially 15-30 minutes, maybe more in construction zones. Build extra travel time into your plans between areas. It's a big park.
Good advice. We covered wildlife safety, but worth repeating.
100%. It's probably the most important safety message. Those distances, 100 yards for bears, wolves, 25 for others, are absolutely crucial. No feeding, no approaching. Use pullouts. Stay in your car during jams.
Bear spray for hikers.
Non-negotiable. Have it accessible, know how to deploy it, and be extra aware around elk, especially cows with calves or bulls in the rut.
And the thermal areas, also dangerous.
Extremely.
Yeah.
Stay on the boardwalks and trails, period. The ground looks solid, but it can be a thin crust over boiling, acidic water. People get severely burned or killed every year, ignoring the warnings. Keep kids close.
Seriously dangerous stuff. Weather. You mentioned it. Changes fast.
Very fast. Pack for all seasons, even in summer. Days might hit the 70s or 80s down low, but nights can freeze, especially higher up. Afternoon thunderstorms pop up frequently.
So layers are key.
Layers, rain gear, hat, gloves. You can get hypothermia even in seemingly mild temps like 30, 50 degrees Fr if you get wet and chilled. Be prepared.
Okay, packing list updated, navigation.
A physical map and compass are always smart if you're hiking. But also the official NPS app is really useful.
What's on the app?
Interactive maps you can download for offline use, which is great because cell service is spotty. Info on services, accessibility, and real-time geyser predictions for the Old Faithful area.
Oh, cool. Geyser predictions on your phone. Visitor center's worth stopping.
Definitely. Albright at Mammoth, Canyon Village, Old Faithful, they're great spots for info, maps, permits, talking to rangers. The exhibits are good too. Canyon focuses on geology, Old Faithful on geysers, obviously.
Is accessibility info easy to find?
Yeah, the app has it, and the visitor centers do too. They list accessible trails, facilities. They even have things like a beach wheelchair available at Fishing Bridge.
Great. Last thing getting in, passes.
Yep. You need an entrance pass. You can buy it online beforehand or at the gate. Check out the America the Beautiful Pass options too. Covers all national parks. There are discounts for seniors, military, etc. Might save you money.
Okay, so as you get ready for this trip, remember, you're not just going to see pretty mountains and geysers. You're walking on the roof of a supervolcano.
Traversing landscapes carved by ancient glaciers.
And stepping into this incredibly complex living system where everything is connected.
Exactly. And knowing a bit about how it's connected, the hotspot, the ice, the wolves and elk and willows and beavers, it just makes everything you see richer, you know?
You start noticing more.
You really do. You see steam, you think about the pressure underground, you see a U-shaped valley, you picture the ice, you watch a bison, you think about its ancient history here, you look for sheep on the cliffs.
It connects you to the place on a different level.
It does. Yellowstone's story is one of deep time, immense power, but also subtle interactions. A beaver dam changing a stream, a wolf pack influencing where plants grow.
So the final thought for you as you explore, remember, this is a dynamic place.
Yeah.
It's always changing, always evolving.
Yeah. Consider how these forces, big and small, are constantly shaping this ecosystem, just like they shape our whole planet. It's a living, breathing story unfolding right in front of you.